Hello everyone, this is Victoria Whitworth, and I'll be kicking off our group's presentation for our benchmarking analysis. These first few slides, you'll be able to pause to kind of get a brief breakdown between the six firms to get a better understanding as we're discussing them later in our presentation. So for this first one, you're seeing a timeline. The key dates here that I would like to point out are the acquisition dates and the product development dates. Here are company profiles. You can see the industries, geographic regions, market share, and financial health of each of our six firms. Key market segments that each of them are targeting and serving, and then key competitors. There is a breakdown here between our B2B and our B2C. So two of our B2B firms, specifically CenturyLink and SiriusXM's Betting, will see different competitors between their different services offered, as well as Disney. For example, CenturyLink will have different competitors within their telecommunications services versus their security services. For driving profits, each of the firms kind of double dip in an essence here. So Monster Beverage, Johnson & Johnson, Chick-fil-A, they all have very strong brand reputations within their customer base. And because of this, they're able to sell high volume, which is what's driving their profits. For target marketing, Monster Beverage is a great example of this because they are targeting those high profile individuals in sporting events and athletes. So they know their target base, they know who their customers are. So they go into those events, and then from there, will rely on high volume sales. In contrast, SiriusXM's Betting, for example, really does target marketing for their luxury brand customers. So while they have brand sales across the brand categories that they offer, the main thing that they're really using to drive profits is the sales of those high price tag products. So those, luxury category mattresses. For growth strategies, again, kind of breaks down between our firms. Chick-fil-A is a little bit more unique in this sense in that they have grown through franchising. So there's a low barrier to entry in opening your own franchise at Chick-fil-A, which is why you've seen a lot of them popping up across the US and throughout the States, mainly because it's individually owned under the umbrella of Chick-fil-A. For product development, Monster Beverage and Johnson & Johnson have really done a high R&D investments to get to where they are today. So Monster Beverage, while they do have that single sole product of energy drinks, they do diversify as far as flavorings go. And now with the Reign, the different customer segments that they're offering there with a little bit variation in their product offering. Johnson & Johnson, they sell a vast variety and diversity of products. And so with that, they're constantly investing into research and development so they can come up with the newest product and really be pioneer within their industry. For mergers and acquisitions, again, you can look back at that timeline deck. And so there's CenturyLink, SSB, and Disney throughout their history have really grown through acquiring other firms. And through these acquisitions, they have reached new customer segments and new product markets, but really to the core, it is the mergers and acquisitions that have allowed them to get the presence that they have within their respective industries.
This is Sarah Vaughn, and I will be discussing channel partners. So when I looked at the service output demand of our companies, I took the end segments of the companies that were the most similar to conduct a fair comparison. And what I found was that most of the companies had high concern for assortment and variety, customer service, information provision, and delivery and waiting time. These similarities are due to our chosen companies having a high concern for their customers and taking pride in their unique products. Just like I did for the comparisons, I looked at the most similar end segments to find the differentiation between the companies. And the companies we chose most separated in their concern for bulk breaking and spatial convenience. This is due to the difference in products actually offered by our companies and their different requirements when being sold to the end user. The similarities between the channel efficiencies also separate the companies. The more high turnover companies like Disney, Chick-fil-A, and Monster have a more direct to consumer route, while CenturyLink, SiriusXM, and Johnson & Johnson take a more structured, separated, and longer route to get to their customers. All in all, these companies take pride in their customer service and the differentiation in their products from their competitors, but take a different approach as to how they get those products to their customers.
The role of technology plays an important role in all six companies, but especially for Disney and CenturyLink. Disney is perhaps the most dependent on technology as it integrates it into nearly everything they do. In all of their operations, from amusement park maps to entertainment platforms, they employ technology to provide their customers with a seamless experience. CenturyLink foresees a transition towards going completely digital in the future. They have created a channel partner quoting portal as they start to shrink their direct sales force. Also, they use their website to educate customers about where the industry is moving and how CenturyLink is adapting to stay ahead of trends. Curtis Simmons also employs a similar tactic to their website. They use their website to demonstrate their customer-focused initiatives and also to educate their customers on mattress stats. Chick-fil-A has developed its own mobile app for customers to use. Almost a third of all transactions are now occurring through their mobile app, and Chick-fil-A is working towards growing its capabilities. Monster and Johnson & Johnson use technology to better enable their sales force. They employ software systems to connect them with information on shipping, inventory, and other key information. Because of this, they're able to adapt and service their customers' needs in a more efficient manner. CenturyLink has a supply-side channel gap because they may not have assets in an area they want to service. Because of this, they might have to lease from another provider. However, this is a rare case. Chick-fil-A oversupplies their stores, who also receive shipments every day. Even though this results in a small amount of waste, they see to it that it's better than being undersupplied. Monster Energy has a demand-side channel gap. Like Chick-fil-A, they oversupply stores with product. They see to it that if they want to take over the market, they need to always be on the shelves for customers. This is why you'll rarely find Monster out of stock at a store. Disney is supplying both more and less than what is demanded. As Disney parks continue to be extremely crowded, customers are consistently wanting new parks to open in the United States. However, their new media streaming service is interesting though. They're providing a lot more content than what people are demanding. Johnson & Johnson has made several alterations over the years, and because of this, they have very few channel gaps. These small channel gaps can stem from changes in regulation, laws, or societal norms that were unforeseen. Curtis Simmons' distribution strategy has few, if any, supply-side or demand-side channel gaps, as they're very selective and use almost entirely brick-and-mortar retailers. They do have a presence in the direct-to-consumer market online, but they primarily sell through brick-and-mortar.
So how do these firms manage their marketing channels? CenturyLink, Disney, Chick-fil-A, and Curtis Simmons all use direct control of their marketing channels. This actually becomes a distinctive competency for Disney, but we'll talk about that in a second. Curtis Simmons and Johnson & Johnson utilize third parties. For example, Johnson & Johnson will consult healthcare professionals in the managing of their marketing channels. Some distinctive competencies with our organizations: customer service, control of marketing channels, and then college ambassador teams. So because some of our businesses are in the retail space, customer service is a huge part of what they do. For example, Chick-fil-A, one of their distinctive competencies is their Christian values. Being closed on Sunday, going above and beyond for customer service is something that has made them the highest grossing fast food chain per capita in the United States. Control of marketing channels would be a company like Disney, who owns almost the entire supply chain and controls their product from production to when it meets the customer, and even how it meets the customer. And then companies like Monster Beverage doing college ambassador teams to reach younger demographics and try and create a loyal following that translates into increased
firms strive to do to the best of their ability. All 6 firms customize their individual customer interactions, some more than others. For example, CenturyLink, the interaction between customers is highly individualized. The product and services they're providing can be specific to the customer's circumstance. Other companies like Chick-fil-A have a set menu, and it's not going to vary from customer to customer. Individual adjustments are made based on the customer's needs. Research and feedback are collected to identify customer trends. For example, Johnson & Johnson and Monster use surveys to measure where customers' needs are so they can work on meeting those needs where they are and future needs as they come up. There are various modes of engagement throughout the 6 firms, and those customer contact points are email, phone, in-person, mobile app, and college reps. Touchpoints vary between companies with an average of once a week. For example, Johnson & Johnson touchpoints are every other week. And Monster college reps have reps of going around college campuses every day getting touchpoints with students. Chick-fil-A uses a mobile app where you can order food on the mobile app and come pick it up, which there's also in-person interaction involved, but all of the back-end processing is done on the app. All of the companies use email and phone promotions to reach customers or schedule appointments. What that looks like for Chick-fil-A in the quick service industry is they send out promotions to customers in their loyalty programs. The supply chain efficiencies change dramatically for each company. All 6 companies, based on the product they're delivering and who is receiving it, are completely different. For example, physical possession with Disney is going to be very low because there's no physical possession of any of the Disney parks that customers are going to. And financing with Monster Energy is going to be low as well. Ordering at Chick-fil-A is obviously going to be high. So it varies between companies based on the products they're offering and the customers that they're offering those products to.
For supply chain competencies, we can see that because the majority of CenturyLink's network is owned and operated by the company, the majority of their services are produced in-house, which helps ensure minimal complications in delivering a product or service to the customer. For Chick-fil-A, they operate their supply chain with 99% efficiency, as we can all see since I'm sure that everyone has been to a Chick-fil-A drive-thru. Monster Beverage has a strong supply chain area competency because they are able to scale up or scale down based on the current demand of consumers. Since Monster isn't a manufacturer, they send their syrup to large partner manufacturers in order to produce enough for the demand and also keep costs down. Now, Disney has ownership of most of their channel members, which gives them a great competitive advantage since they can ensure that each channel member is working correctly and having the best interest for the company in mind. This is one of the many reasons that Disney is so successful and puts out such high quality products and services. Johnson & Johnson and SSB have superb supply chain competencies because of 2 main areas. The first is a large number of distribution and order fulfillment centers. Johnson & Johnson currently has 300 distribution and order fulfillment centers around the world and 250 Johnson & Johnson family companies. Now, for the second reason, they need to have a strong internal and external level of employee communication. And SSB's supply chain management system demonstrates this by showing an effective communication and efficiencies throughout the company. So through close internal contact between teammates and department teams, SSB is able to provide a uniform message across their company that extends to their channel partners. So both Johnson & Johnson and SSB have to demonstrate this in order to show the success that they have. In conclusion, we can see that through these 6 businesses, 2 areas of commonality are that they all service consumers and the high priority they place on their customer service.